Thank you for joining us for another edition of Saint Spotlight. Today we are joined by Leo Calderon from the Thomas More class of 1980. It was recently announced by the Northern Kentucky Chamber that Mr. Calderon is the recipient of the 2022 Horizon Award as a result of his dedication, integrity, and honorable service to the Northern Kentucky region through his extraordinary community leadership. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you, David, for the invitation.
Starting off, could you tell us a short history behind your career path and any of your important turning points?
Well, thank you for the question. I guess my career began with me attending Thomas More College. Back then, it was Thomas More College in 1976. It was Thomas More who really gave me an opportunity to get a higher education degree. And after that, once I graduated, like you mentioned, in 1980, my undergraduate degree was in criminal justice, so I became a police officer across the river. Later on, I began to work at Northern Kentucky University and began working on my master's in public administration. After that, Dr. Leon Booth, who was the president of Northern Kentucky University at that time, gave me the opportunity to work in his office as his executive assistant, and it was then that really things changed for me quite a bit.
You retired from NKU in December of 2021 after 36 years of service, and for the last 20 years of your career, you served as director of Latino Service Initiatives. Can you tell us what accomplishments you are most proud of during your time in that position?
Certainly. 20 years ago, in the spring of 2001, a colleague of mine decided to establish an office to cater, to provide services to the growing Latino community back then. And we were one of a kind in which, in the regions, as a matter of fact, to provide bilingual services to the growing community. Back then, we only had 57 self-reported Latino students. Exactly what when I talk about self-reported Latino students, David, I'm talking about undocumented students, permanent residents, and U.S. born. So again, we provide bilingual services, and I was getting phone calls all the way from Tennessee, and basically what people were asking is, what is the admission process? Just general information, and since then, we have had, in 20 years, we had over 1,000% increase of Latino students at Northern Kentucky University. I could go on and on in terms of the programs that we provide, the scholarships that we establish to recruit, retain, and graduate those students. But what I'm most proud of is the ability to help students achieve their dream, and that is to get an education, and being able and seeing them succeed. Some of our students currently are attorneys, they are educators, they're social workers, they're PhD, they're diplomats, and so forth.
You helped found the Esperanza Latino Center with NKU Professor Irene Encarnacion.
Yes.
Tell us about that experience and the work that is done at that center.
Mm-hmm. First of all, Professor Encarnacion has been a colleague of mine for many, many years. I guess we have worked together for over 30 years at Northern Kentucky University. And she was also part of the reason that our students were able to come to NKU. You only need a couple of collaborators like her and you get things done. In this case, there's, as you know, David, the Latino community is drastically increasing in the region. There was a need to provide such services in the community. And for a long time, I always wanted to go and do something like this, and it just presented the opportunity to do it. So in 2019, so let me go back. In 2018, I was part of this Peace and Justice Community Committee of Northern Kentucky, and we put basically an ad hoc committee to look at the possibility of establishing a Latino center. And the answer was yes, let's move forward. And Professor Encarnacion was part of that. She was one of the founding members. So basically there were four of us who put our energy together, our finances together, And we opened the doors in January of 2019. And it's been a wonderful experience. Again, that was the reason that we established to try to meet the needs of the growing Latino community in the Northern Kentucky community. I approached the mayor of Covington, Joe Meyer, who I've known him for years, and asked him if there was an opportunity to do that in Covington in this case. He was very receptive to that idea. And exactly what is it that we do at Esperanza? We provide English classes, Spanish classes, we provide GED classes. We even got involved, we were open during the COVID period, provided assistance, financial assistance to those individuals who cannot afford to pay their bills in this case. So we were very instrumental in doing that.
As a student, how was your experience at Thomas More?
Oh, I had some very fond memories of Thomas More College back then, university now. One of the things that I found is so appealing was the genuine hospitality from the faculty and the staff. I happened to live in the dorms the first year, and I still remember the lady who ran the dorms, Miss McClure. She was like a grandma to all of us, just very kind. And it was back then that I also met my wife, Kathy. She happened to come from Louisville, and we got married, as a matter of fact, in our second year, and had a baby, Sarah. And however, we stayed, on course to graduate within 4 years. We even were on food stamps, David, thanks to I think it was the Clinton administration back then that allows people like me for us to receive food stamps. And thanks to that support that we were able to continue our education and provide food for our daughter. But also too, Thomas More played a critical role in giving me, for instance, the opportunity to work, particularly during the winter when we were off. I even helped paint the dorms, and that's how I was able to go ahead and receive a little bit of money to continue our education. But again, the diversity of the students, I mean, we had some international students, just a variety of students. Back then, I believe there were over 400 students living in the dorms, and the total enrollment population, I would imagine, back then was about 1,200. So that was a significant number of students living in the dorms, and it was just great moments in my life.
Do you have any advice for any current students?
I do. You know what? Enjoy your time at the university, maximize those opportunities, travel abroad, follow your dreams, follow your passion, and if possible, share those wonderful talents that you have by helping other organizations. And if not, create your own organization, have an impact, get outside your comfort zone, because many of us are, like to go and stay within our comfort zone. Get outside your comfort zone. I think more than ever, and just enjoy yourselves. Life is too short.